All right, guys. Today we are gonna be reacting to Andrew lectures, eager on the judgment of promiscuity. Let's jump in, guys.
What choice are you being limited?
I'm not limited. I think I'm more so talking about other people feeling the psychological pressure of society. Like women get judged, men get judged too, actually. Just there's so much judgment. And I think that's unnecessary.
Yeah, what's wrong with judgment? Judgment's good.
Because it stirs people away from doing what they want to do.
Yeah, but
as long as they're not hurting other people.
This is my problem, right? This is why
just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
So this is a problem with Twitch politics. You got Twitch brain, okay? So what's happened because of your Twitch brain is you hear all the heatedness on Twitch say, do what makes you feel good, man. The good is the good. Do the good. Whatever makes you feel good.
Have you ever watched my Twitch
What about
channel?
your duty and obligations? Do you have any of those? Do you just have a set of sequence of entitlements that you call rights with 0 duties and 0 rights?
Actually, Twitch chat also puts pressure on me. I think this is mentality that I came on my own, which was really hard because there's, like I said, so much pressure from everyone.
Yeah, but answer to my question. So my question is, do you just have a sequence of entitlements, or do you have any duties and obligations to anybody for anything ever?
Your question is very vague. Can you paraphrase it?
I don't know how it could possibly.
Wow, that's right there. That's a disingenuous answer, huh? Very disingenuous. Wow. Okay. What's going on here? My bad, guys. It's just acting up a little bit here.
Be more precise. Do you know what a duty is?
Could you define that?
No,
for
I'm
me?
just asking if you know what one is before I define it. Before we become too overly pedantic,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that you are going to tell me that you don't know
Let's go, Andrew. He knows what's up. What time
what
it
that
is.
word means first before I define it. Not that you're making me do it because you want to be overly pedantic.
English is my second language.
Yeah,
I
that
don't
doesn't
even
mean
know
that you
what
don't
pedant
understand
is.
what I'm saying.
What
I
is
don't know how
pedant?
this relates. She was talking about freedom of choice, and you said,
Sister
well,
who coming in. Let's go. Sister who's coming
you're
in.
legally allowed to do whatever you want. And then she was talking about socialization and being inculcated
because
to
what
have
did
certain
she-
habits. And you said, what's wrong with shame?
Yeah.
It's fine to be shamed, but she's saying that women aren't avoiding promiscuity because of the adverse effects that you think are inherent to promiscuity. It's because they don't want to be called a 304 or a slut. If you think there's
That's
negative...
not what she said.
That is what she's implying.
Well,
She's saying
hang on,
if there's
hang on.
actually
What she-
negative side effects
No.
to
We're
having a lot
talking
of
about
sex,
monogamy. I
those will
disagree.
manifest in themselves. It doesn't have to take the form of guys
Yeah.
calling her a slut. That's the sort
That's
of
not what we're talking about.
absence
That's
of
not
freedom
what
of
we're
choice. That is what
talking-
she was
no,
saying.
No, we were
What you're
talking
doing
about
is
She's about girls
monogamy.
being slut
You were
shamed.
talking about
No, guys. You can't do that. See what you're doing? She just literally... This was her goal. You see now how they redirecting the conversation towards her? Because something that we have as guys, we have ego. And we have to battle against an ideology, right? So now we focus on her. This girl, I forgot her name. She literally achieved her goal, which was basically to what? Deviate the conversation. Look at her. She knows what's up. Look at that.
About
Yeah.
monogamy and the
You know what's up.
expectation to have.
She's saying
get married and have
society,
children.
she feels like it's not fair that society is casting stigma on social behaviors. That's what she's actually saying.
She's saying
I
it's
think she was
mutually
just
exclusive with freedom of
acknowledging.
choice, and you understood freedom of choice to mean legal rights, and she was saying
No, not just legal
judgment
rights.
and socialization and stigma,
That's
and
what I'm
then you
talking
said what's
about is
wrong with
stigma.
stigma. Yeah.
Literally talking about stigma right this second. That's why I'm asking, do you feel like you only have a sequence of entitlements which are given, or do you feel like you have any duties and obligations
What is the
external to
duty?
those? A duty, an obligation.
To who?
Like a
to
child
what?
or a dog or a job.
Like if you're a
or
parent, do you
friends.
have a duty to feed your child if you're a parent?
I'm not a parent. You want me to imagine
If
what
you
it's
were,
like?
how would you feel if you ate breakfast this morning?
How would I feel if I ate breakfast?
Yeah.
Full?
Yeah, how would you feel bad if you didn't eat breakfast this morning?
I would require more minerals. That is correct.
Okay, great. So we know that you can do hypotheticals, so let's not be pedantic then.
Damn! Wow, that. Now I know why he asked that question. Now I know. If he complies with the question, right? That's a good close. That's a good closing, right?
Full?
Yeah, how would you feel bad if you didn't eat breakfast this morning?
I would require more minerals. That is correct.
Okay, great. So we know that you can do hypotheticals, so let's not be pedantic then. So,
I still don't know what pedantic is.
yeah, you don't know what it is. You don't know what pedantry is because English is your second language. Are
That
you
is
sure?
correct.
Okay. Well, let's move into it anyway. I'm just going to ask, and I'll use really small words. Do you have a duty? And if you don't know what the word duty means when I say it in the context of feeding a child, I'll tell you.
Are you asking me to answer
Oh.
if I had a child, would I feed the child? And that's
Now,
your
do you have a
definition of
duty to feed the child? Some obligation?
I would feed my child.
Do you have an obligation to feed your child?
Wow, there you go. See that.
I feel like this is a lot of semantics.
Legally, yes, you do have an
when you make an
obligation.
argument-
She ain't just coming in. And this is a problem, and this is where Brian was really, this is the beginning, right? So Brian was not checking, Farash, I think that's her name. Checking her. In this situation, guys, you need to check her. Let her answer the question. And something simple as, let her answer the question. And that way, see, she know sisterhood can come in. She's waiting for that sisterhood to just come in and defend her. And the way I think she's doing that is by asking the question, can you define this for me? Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? It's just giving some space and some indication to the other females, I need help.
Semantics are super important. So I'm just wondering, do you have an obligation to feed your child?
I would feed my child.
Do you have an obligation to do that, though?
There you go, yep. See, there you go, I told you.
Have an
Yeah, I
obligation.
told you, I told you guys. I told you.
You
Yeah.
don't understand
No.
that when I ask you one question and then you answer to a question I didn't ask you, that you don't
You're
understand
really
why I keep
confusing
repeating
me,
the question.
Andrew.
If I say, would you feed your child, and you say, yes, I'd feed my child, then that's an answer to that question. If I ask you if you have an obligation to feed your child and you say, I would feed my child, that's not answering if you think you have an obligation to do so.
I will feed my child,
Okay.
and that is the last
So
thing
you're
I'm
just
going to
not going to
say.
answer
No, but
the
do you
question.
have
But
do you have a,
you would
a
feed your
duty?
child because you
do you have
feel
an obligation?
obligated.
Nah,
because you
nah.
have-
See, this is so wrong. You see how the females are jumping in to just make them feel comfort.
Have to, basically. It's you have
If
to
my
feed
child
your
is
kid.
hungry, I will feed him. Yes.
No, but do you have an obligation to feed your child?
Like, let's put it this way. You could. Some guy wants to fly you out to France for $2 million, or your baby needs to eat, and you're like,
Wait,
well,
into the mic, please.
well, the baby, I don't have to feed the baby, it'll live, but I can go on this France trip. Like, some people would be like, you know what, fuck the baby, I'll hire a sitter to feed them. That's not my obligation right now. My obligation is like going to France and get this money. You know what I mean? So
Bone
he's kind of saying like,
538
Just one sec. Just one sec. Just one sec.
$199. Her very body embraces the duty to the child via the mammary glands.
That's
Okay.
true.
Okay,
I think
Bonan.
you should specify. Do you mean like a legal duty or a moral duty?
I just said obligation first.
Yeah. Do you mean legally or
Yeah, well,
morally?
that would be
or biologically.
first. I would need to figure out whether or not she even feels like she has any obligation, or doesn't actually know what the word obligation means. If
But
you don't
obligation
actually know
is
what the
subjective.
word,
There's
I
legal
want to ask you something
obligations.
else. If he pulls up the definition of obligation and reads it to you, will you answer the question then, or are you just going to still answer it the same way?
I will try my best.
Okay.
Do you want me to? I can Google obligation, right?
If that's what you want to do.
Nah, you see, that's what you want to do. This is a trap, guys. I'm telling you. If that's what you want to do, now she just sang language is crazy in this one. And she's being a smartass too.
Brian.
An act or course of action to which a person is morally or legally bound, a duty or commitment.
You don't even know what the hell it means.
And legal.
Yeah.
So both.
Specify
There we go.
legal or moral.
Right.
Specify for her which one.
A moral.
I feel
I
like
will
this is a
make
very
sure-
easy question.
Let's
to
just say
answer.
No, it's not. If you were to ask me, are you obligated to be nice to the person next to you? I could say not
Okay.
necessarily.
Are you morally? Should you morally feed your child?
Yes.
Okay, good. So now back over.
There we go. Nice job, Andrew. Nice job, Andrew. Nice job, Andrew.
You. Do you have an obligation to feed your child?
I will make sure that my child is well
Are
fed.
you
No,
morally
just-
obliged to do so?
Answer the question, Myra. Did I get it right? Mira?
Mira.
Sorry. So I'm not doing it. I swear I'm not doing it intentionally. I'm like that
Yes.
brain dead.
I will answer yes.
You have a obligation to do so.
Yeah, but it's not in front of other people. It's because I care for the child.
Okay, but there is a duty there.
Okay.
Okay,
There
so
is.
now we've established you know what duty means. So do you have any of those in society, or no?
Will I feed anyone else
That's
in the
not what I'm asking.
society?
I'm asking
Yeah.
if you have any duties in society now that you understand the context of what duty means, or is it all just entitlement?
That's
I
crazy.
feel like I can make certain difference in life that would be helpful to people, but I don't have to.
Okay,
No.
so you don't have any duties or obligations to anybody else in society, just a sequence of entitlements?
I don't know what sequence of entitlement is.
So, like, let's take a right. Would you say a right's an entitlement?
Can you be more specific? Can you give me like,
Like your right to free speech, for a context. That's an entitlement. Would you say you're entitled to that?
no?
No, you're not entitled to it.
I don't think anyone entitled to anything.
Nobody's entitled to anything
Yes.
except your baby to get food.
Yeah, but even there, like, it's all very subjective. Like, I would take care of the baby and feed the baby because I care for the baby.
But would you give a stigma towards people who didn't?
No,
Why?
Wow.
because it's none of my business.
So if people weren't feeding their children and they were starving because they weren't feeding them, you wouldn't want a societal stigma against that.
I'm not there to judge. There are other
They say-
people that
and
can
this
do
is
that.
this is the scary part about female nature right there. Because they don't want to be, they don't want the conflict, right? So what they do is, I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be judgmental. I want Christianity with a little bit of vanilla ice cream. I want Christianity without the judgment. I want to do all these things without the judgment. I want police presence, but don't arrest people because they can get hurt. All these things, they want these things without confrontation. No societal duties, guys. None. Wow.
Do you
That
think
is
that
their
the
job.
world then is going to be a better place or a worse place because you refuse to judge and allow us to societal stigma towards people who won't feed their children?
This reminds me of my childhood.
There you go. Yeah.
You need
Wow.
to ask
You'll
Gio-
see. Wow, that's interesting. Interesting time, huh? Look at her.
This reminds me of my childhood.
I need to ask, do you all feel the same way?
Well, so a couple things. I feel like
I'm asking. I just want to finish this real
I'm
quick.
thinking, yes,
Yeah,
I'm thinking.
Is
Yeah.
the world going to be a better or a worse place by you refusing to allow a stigma towards people who won't feed their own children?
So I think that the reason why this comparison doesn't work is because in the first case, the life of a child that is not able, I'm assuming, to feed himself or herself is a danger. And the second one, you're judging someone else's personal/sexual life.
I don't understand.
Right.
Why wouldn't that work? We're talking about a stigma towards a behavior that we don't like to see the benefits in society due to the stigma.
Because like I said, the first one, someone's life depends on it. Somebody that technically is not capable of feeding themselves. And the second case, it's...
What are you talking about?
I have
not
like a great
affecting
example.
anyone's
I'd love
health.
to ask her that maybe it could put it more
No,
specifically,
no.
like as an
No,
example.
she's trying to save her.
Not so much as a statement. So
She's trying to
here
save
we
her.
go. When I was a kid, my dad used to like beat
There
the
you go.
living fucking shit out of me for like 15 years. And one day, and I sang my entire life growing up. One day I was singing. I come outside. My neighbor's like, "Oh my God, you have such a lovely voice. Like, you're such a good singer. Like, never stop singing." And I feel really good, feel really great. And then 10 seconds later, I realized, wait, if she can hear me singing, she can definitely hear when I'm like screaming bloody murder for help. And no one's helping. And so I think in this, what his question could go towards this: if you were my neighbor, would have you felt obligated to call the
Yeah, do you
police
have a
and
duty to do
CPS,
so?
or would you have said that's none of my business? I'm not going to get into that.
Of
Actually,
course.
that's
Thank
really
you.
that's
That's
a good framing.
Yes, that is.
That was
Thank you
good
for
framing.
clarifying it. So I think I should have mentioned, maybe I did, but briefly, is that as long as nobody getting hurt, if no one's health or life is
Yeah, I
in
tell
danger,
you, it's you know, it's crazy, man, and this is scary. It's all about the confrontation. She don't want to be confrontational, but these people have the right to vote, guys. And you know, men know that when we vote, there's always the potential of conflict, right? Always the potential of conflict. We know as guys and men. I'm wondering if females know this. When we vote, when we have a political process, there's a potential of conflict. That's why we have political system, because if there's no political system, we'll be literally delete each other's quickly. But as men, we know this is what we have in our mind. I'm wondering if females have the same kind of worry in their mind, or they know that could be a potential.
do what you please. Do not let others influence your life.
Well, he's going to say
telling you.
promiscuity hurts people, but that example doesn't pan out to her because she's talking about personal choice in terms of desire, not action. So even if you don't want to feed the baby and you feel obligated to, you're still going to feed the baby. She's talking about personal desire to have sex being suppressed
Wow,
by
that's
stigma,
sad.
not actually whether you act
No, but
on it.
Or get married.
Wasn't that the point of the analogy? Weren't we talking about
No, because
promiscuity?
we started off talking about with monogamy with her, then she came in, then she started talking about there's a pressure on
They're
women
saving her.
to have children
Right.
and to get married. That's not really related to promiscuity necessarily.
Right. What we're talking instead is about societal duties. So the
Yeah, that's
question
it.
becomes, if we're looking at the United States, we're looking at Western nations, which are underneath the threshold for replacing their own people inside of those nations, way underneath, not even replacing themselves. Period. Is there any duty for us to do that? And you would say there's no duty to do that, right? There's no duty. So why wouldn't we, for instance, if I was the president of the United States tomorrow, why wouldn't I want to have some type of push towards women to see them kind of view this as a duty to do, a duty to try to get married younger, to try to have families younger so that I could bring that birth rate up, for instance, so that I could replace the society which I currently have. You don't think that that's a good idea?
You trying to replace the society? That sounds like some shit. That's
Well,
crazy.
I think right now we're seeing a lot of.
What?
There's people that there's
get off
couple
She looking at, see how she looking at the girl next to her, and then she looking at the camera.
things going on.
Look at
There's,
that. She's achieving what she wants. She just want to deviate a conversation and not be held responsible for her answers. Interesting. Let me know what you guys think. I will see you in the next one.